Hey Amarillo, I'm Skylar Gallup, and you're listening to Hey Amarillo, the interview podcast featuring some of the most interesting people and stories of Amarillo, Texas. We record every week at Amarillo College's Innovation Outpost. The IO supports education, workforce development, and industry growth by inspiring and facilitating innovation in the Texas Panhandle. Today's guest is Kyle Groves. Kyle is a relatively recent Amarillo transplant and brings with him a unique profession he's looking to expand in our community: magic. That's right, Kyle is a magician, and a second-generation one at that. We talk about him growing up on the road with his magician parents in the 70s, what that was like, his approach to his practice, and a pretty cool and exciting project he's working on to maybe bring some whimsy and wonder to Amarillo. Here's Kyle. Kyle Groves, welcome to the Hey Amarillo podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Really excited about the conversation to have. Thanks so much for being here. We've got a lot of really magical stuff to talk about today. Hopefully that's the only time I make a terrible pun during this episode, but I make no promises. Let's start with what you're doing here today. What's your origin story with Amarillo, Kyle?
With Amarillo, well, I've been here for about 3 years now. My wife and I moved here. She took a job here in Amarillo, which is what brought us to the area, and that's how I got here.
All right, where'd you move from?
From Pueblo, Colorado.
Oh, nice. And is that where you were born and raised, or was that another stop off?
That was a stop off. I guess you could say that. I was pretty much raised in Pueblo, but I was born in Montana, and then grew up for the most part in Pueblo.
Okay. Tell me about growing up in Montana.
Well, I only made it till I was about 6 years old, so there's a lot of it that is just memory to me, but it was great. Montana's an awesome place. I still love going there. I go every summer. I work there every summer. But Montana's great. Growing up in Montana, that's where I first got into this crazy business that I'm in. And that's how things got started from the day I was born.
And that is the business of
magic, of being
magic.
A professional entertainer.
That's so awesome. So in thinking about this interview, I had so many questions, which is like prime for a really great conversation, right? And I think one of the things that I really tried to do was like, okay, let's wipe my slate clean of what I think I know, which actually is very little anyway, but maybe like what we've seen in, pop culture and movies and, things like that. And just really wanted to kind of like, can I just ask some basic questions for a little bit?
Absolutely. Let's go for it.
Cool. Okay. Starting with, how does one, which you've started to answer, how does one say, I'm a magician, or I'm going to be a magician? How do you stumble into that?
Well, I stumbled into it by birth. In fact, I tell people that I was not even born at all. I was pulled from a magic hat. Both my mom and dad are retired from the magic business. So they started that in 1970. I was born in 1973. So I was born right into the business. So I grew up with it all through my childhood until about the time I went to college. A little bit, high school, it wasn't so cool anymore. Okay. But then I came back around to it and decided this is what I want to do with my life. Okay,
thank you. So still, when someone decides this is what they want to do with their life, how does one become a gainfully employed magician? What is that pathway like?
Well, the pathway to becoming gainfully employed as a magician, first of all, you have to study the craft, the art of magic, and you have to understand it. And the magic is, for me, the magic is just a vessel. The real thing is more of entertainment. So the magic is like an artist uses paint as their medium. I use the magic as my medium to be able to entertain people. And so I guess to answer your question a little more about how does one stumble into it, for me, when I made the decision to become a professional magician, was when I came back from college.
Okay.
And I had dedicated myself at that point in time to learning the craft of magic. I had always been around it, grew up with it, like I said. But then when I came home from college, I said, this is what I'm going to do. I really put my mind to it. And I studied my entire life under my parents, obviously, and learned a lot from them, not just on the magic side, but the business side too. There's a whole nother side of this that people never see. And that's the not so fun side of it. What you get to see on stage is the fun part. The other parts are, it can be pretty draining, pretty taxing sometimes, with the business side of it. My first real go at being a professional magician was I became the resident magician at the Royal Gorge Bridge in Canyon City, Colorado. And I did that. I did that for one whole summer. I know this is going to sound outrageous, but it is very true. I did 613 shows in 13 weeks.
Wow.
I was doing 7 shows a day, 6 days a week, plus holidays.
Man.
And that was it was a grind, but I really learned what I was doing. It was outside on a gazebo, international audiences. I'd get people up who didn't speak English and have to figure out how to work with them. At least magic transposes that barrier of that language barrier a bit, but trying to get somebody to help me do something and they didn't understand. So it could be fun. And you never knew what you were going to get in the audience. And some days it would be, 5 or 10 people in an audience. Some day it'd be 50 or a couple hundred in the audience. So it was really a learning ground. And after that grind, I still said, yes, this is what I want to do. So I guess that's the long, short answer.
Yeah, that would have been quite the test. My goodness. How do you talk to the lay person? Is it like we talk about Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy? And I guess I'm assuming that magicians kind of like each to their own, right? But is it, you've kind of said like that magic is the vessel to entertainment. Are there these great craft secrets that you're not going to disclose, or like how do you approach that? I mean, I of course there are these secrets that allow you to do what you do on stage and give people all the oohs and ahs and all of that stuff. But how do you approach that with the potential audience?
Well, obviously the secrets are a big part of it. That's becoming more and more difficult as a magician because the internet is ruining that for the magic world. There's so much exposure out there at this point in time. That's where you got to rely back on the entertainment part of it. I have people come up to me all the time and ask me how I do it.
Okay.
And then I have people come up to me all the time and say, I know how you did that. And they are sure they know. And they're so far off base that it makes me laugh. But I've heard some outlandish things. But as far as approaching the lay audience, when they come to me and say, how do you do it? I've got a couple answers. One is very well, or I'll tell people it keeps me up at night trying to figure it out. So that's kind of that's my approach towards the lay person saying, how do you do it? And then again, like I mentioned, when people tell me how I do it, it's hilarious. Some of the stuff people come up with, I mean, they're sure they know, and it's great.
Let them think it. Yeah, so I recently watched a magician show on Netflix. I watched it with my kiddos, and it was perfect timing. We didn't actually have this scheduled, and so it was just fortuitous timing. But me, my 11-year-old, and my freshly 8-year-old were all equally enamored and surprised and shocked, and the kids were like looking at me to like, how did he? And I'm like, I have no idea. And it was just such a fun experience, and so recent that it really has me like reflecting in this conversation that like magic does this really cool thing to people, and perhaps part of that is kind of takes away, I guess if you allow yourself to, kind of takes away this like, I'm a grown up and I know things and I'm in control. because me and the boys were on the same playing field of just shock.
Yeah, and I know exactly the one you're talking about, and it's a fantastic show. And one of my favorite parts of that show is the way he does that is that he's got the people who believe, and then there's the people who are the skeptics, and he calls it out, and I think that's awesome that he does that, because in every audience, I wind up with that too. I've got the skeptic, and they're the ones who are trying to figure it out rather than enjoy the entertainment of it. And to what you were saying, I agree completely, and that's what I attempt to do with every show, is to take you away from whatever it is. You know, if maybe you got a trouble in your life, or you're just having a bad day, or whatever it might be. If I can take you away from that for 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it might be, then I feel like I'm doing my job, you know, to take you out of that situation. Again, there's the people who love it and come because they love it, and then there's the people who are there to try to catch you. And as the magician looking out at the audience, I always know who those people are. I can tell. I can see the look right on their face.
You can see them. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Got their like leaned back, arms crossed, whatever. Yeah. I think it definitely brings a whimsy that, like, I guess in my opinion anyway, is like, let's have more of that. You know, more of like, check what you think you know at the door and come have a good time. Allow yourself to be odd, you know, or be dumbfounded.
and I feel that way, you know. I think people get out of a magic show what they put into it.
Yeah.
If they come there to just they don't want to be there, they're not going to have any fun. If they come there and to be entertained, they're going to have a great time. Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so there are also like a lot of different types of magic. I don't know much about your field, and I know that, you know, there's like these crazy mentalists that like come on the Today Show and know everybody's, I don't know, underwear color or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like some more visual stuff. So like, what is your kind of style of magic?
My style, what I like to do is I like to take the classic effects, stuff that's maybe been around for 100 years, and reinvent that, whether that being close-up magic, and that's, you know, like cards and coins and stuff that happens right in your hands, or the other is, it's what we affectionately call parlor magic. It's more of a smaller, like, you know, for a 50 person type audience. Those are the two things that I really like to work at. I do have a full illusion show if I need to, that I can do in big theaters. I don't do that very often. It's usually more for a fundraiser that I end up doing those.
Okay. And so is that, I just really have no, is that like, you know, cutting the woman in half and the disappearing boxes and like the big show stuff? Is that what that is?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. All the bigger stuff. So, and that stuff's, it's fun to do. There's so much more involved in some of that with rehearsal time and just making the show come off, because there's so many more moving parts than, it's not just myself. I've got, you know, there's assistants, and there's sound and lighting, and there's a lot that goes into a production like that.
Mm-hmm. So, Kyle, you mentioned that, you know, super understandably so, excuse me, when you start to think about it, that the internet had made it more difficult to kind of keep those trade secrets. Magic goes back, certainly fill in for me, because I, again, come to this from very little, you know, historically in our societal being, you know, Houdini, and I'm sure much farther back. Is that something that you study? And then as we've progressed technologically and, you know, with our knowledge base, what has become more difficult as a magician as we've progressed?
The idea of magic, yeah, it goes back to ancient Egyptian times. That's the very first recorded magic trick goes back to ancient Egypt, and that was the cups and balls, which most people probably know. It's the trick with 3 cups and 3 balls.
Okay, yep, cool, I gotcha.
Yeah, so that one goes way, way back. But as we've progressed through time, the different styles of magic have, I mean, through the periods, you mentioned Houdini, you know, during that time, magicians would do things like Houdini he'd do something on stage like an escape, and he'd go behind a brick wall, and he'd be behind that brick wall for an hour. he might not have been tied up or whatever for that entire time, but he was behind that wall for an hour and keeps the audience in suspense. This day and age, we can't do that. I can't keep an audience sitting for an hour on
For
one
an
effect.
hour.
Yeah, if I tried to do that, it would be it would just ruin my entire career. The thing that I've really noticed, probably in the last 20 years, with the advancement of technology and internet, is where I've started to see the change. Really, what's changed is the attention span, and it becomes shorter and shorter, and a lot of times people think that's the kids I'm talking about, and it's not. I'm talking about the adults and the parents. A lot of times I'll actually hear after a show, I can't believe you kept their attention for 40 minutes, and I usually have no problem with that. But about 20 minutes through the show, that's where the parents are starting to twitch and wanting to get on their phones, or I've had them get on iPads right in the middle of a show before. And I usually call people out now. So that's where I've seen the biggest changes is in the attention span more than anything else. Of course, like I brought up earlier, the exposure makes it difficult. I've had kids fact check me in the middle of a show. They're on
Oh
Google.
gosh.
I made a comment one time. I was doing a straitjacket escape, and I had made the comment that Harry Houdini had escaped from his record time was like right at 2 minutes, and I had this kid pipe up right in the middle, 2 minutes and 14 seconds, and which I mean he was fact checking it right then. So I mean whatever, but that happens more and more. That's that whole thing of trying to catch me or catch any magician at that point in time. So that's made it more difficult. The exposure definitely has made it difficult because you can sit in the audience and probably look up just about anything I'm doing and know how I did it almost instantaneously.
Right. It's just the idea of like, do you want to? You're going to be that guy. Come on.
Right. Yeah. And we ask for phones to be silenced and things like that. And not used during programs, but it still happens, and it's going to continue to happen. It keeps me sharp. It keeps me having to evolve and keep the material fresh and change, and some of the jokes change with the technology. So it's kind of fun.
Okay, so tell me what your career thus far has looked like, and then we'll go into the really exciting for Amarillo stuff that I know you've got cooking.
Sure. For everybody hears magician, instantly they think birthday party, but it doesn't have to be just a birthday for a kid. I've done birthdays from everything from 1-year-old to 100-year-old. So they're fun, and the adult shows are fun. They're still with me. It's still 100% clean comedy and everything, but the adult shows are at a different level. The magic's at a different level. A lot of corporate events at especially holiday time with company parties, things like that. And then fairs and festivals are a big part of what I do. The other big thing one of the things I'm most proud of is summer reading program. Every summer I build a brand new show based around the national theme for the collaborative summer reading program creates a theme every year. And so I build a new show and I go to libraries. This year I was in 5 states, encouraging kids to read during the summer while they're away from school. I hit 3 things. I hit read at least 20 minutes every day, take really, really good care of your books, and use your library as often as you possibly can. Because not only is it a great place to be, it's a safe place to be.
Aw, that is some good work, man. That's great.
Yeah, so libraries are a big deal. And this year, I was talking to one librarian this year, and we realized it was the 21st year in a row that we'd been at her library.
Wow.
So that's something to be proud of. So
that certainly is. That's really cool. That's really cool. Is that like a nationwide partnership between libraries and magicians, or is that like just something that you were like, hey, I really love libraries, let me bring my magic show and try to help parlay it into a love of reading? That's so cool.
So most libraries do some sort of programming in the summer for kids, and it's not just magicians. I know of a girl that's a ventriloquist that takes her show in. There's a guy that does he plays the guitar and sings, and there's another lady out of Denver who does storytelling. So there's a wide variety of a variety arts that go in. When it began, libraries would have very, very small grants and almost no funds to hire anybody or even hardly pay anything. Now, through the years, that's growing. They can afford not just me, but they can afford 2 or 3 other performers usually during the summer. And it's just a way to keep kids involved, keep them coming to the library as often as they can. One that I do is in Colorado. It's a Books in the Park. So every Monday and Wednesday at 2 separate parks, they bring a trailer full of books, and kids come out to the park and they get to take home books with them. They don't even have to check those out. They just have racks of books that the kids can take home so that they read. That's what kind of got us as a family involved in magic, going back clear back to my dad years and years ago. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, so he got to help a magician at school when he was about 10 years old, and he caught the magic bug, and he'd go to his library in Three Forks, Montana.
Interesting.
And at the time it was a boxcar, and they had one magic book. And the librarian saw that he was checking it out, and she started bringing in more and more books for him. It goes way back. I mean, clear back to when my dad was a kid. So that we just have a love for reading. Absolutely.
The power of a librarian, man. That's it. They saw that a kid had an interest and then took the time to pour into that interest through books. That's perfect.
Yeah, and I see that a lot. I was at one library this summer, and they have a patron at the library who is wheelchair bound to home, basically.
Okay.
So the librarian, this was an adult, not a kid, but the librarian was gathering up books and was going to take those to this woman's home so that she would have her books to read. And librarians go above and beyond.
The best.
They're some of the greatest people around. Yep.
Cool. Okay, so now you've moved to Amarillo from Colorado 3 years ago. Your wife took a job. What you doing in Amarillo, Kyle?
Well, in Amarillo, opening October 1st will be the Amarillo Magic Company. It will be a theater, a small 50-seat theater. We're also going to have a magic shop where people can buy magic to learn. I'll also be doing a magic academy, which will be where people can sign up and actually take classes. There's 3 different levels to it: a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced level.
Okay.
With those classes, it's not just about the magic. I also teach stage theory and showmanship to go along with that. I've always said that anybody can do a magic trick. Anybody can pick up a magic trick and learn how to do it.
Sure.
Not everybody can entertain with a magic trick. And I think that's an important thing, especially for people who want to get involved in the magic world. Magic kind of, the Ringling Brothers circus has trouble finding clowns because kids don't want to be a clown anymore. And I think there's the same kind of idea with magic that, you can't make a living doing magic. Only I can tell you can. So teaching that showmanship and somebody who's really interested, that's a big deal. But with the new space, it's going to be on Western, 5208 Western.
Where's that at? Where's that at on Western?
About a block off I-27, right in front of Ashley Furniture.
Oh, not very good location.
Yeah. So with that, we'll be doing Friday Night Magic, which is kind of more of designed to be more of a date night sort of deal.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be. You can bring the kids. It's fine. There's nothing to be worried about with any of that. Obviously, birthday parties will be a part of it. Seasonal shows. I've got the Thrillusion Halloween show that's ready to go for October, right after we open. December, I'll be doing Christmas magic through the eyes of a child.
Oh.
So kind of how kids see Christmas, but in a magical way.
Right. Perhaps kind of the most naturally magical time of the year for many families, in fact.
Exactly. So lots of things, any kind of, we do have the ability for screen and projector. And, if somebody is needing a space to use for a business meeting or something like that, that's always available as well. So it'd be kind of an interesting business meeting, but in an interesting spot. Let's put it that way. It might be creative. Who knows? So,
yeah.
But we used to do that in Colorado, and we a lot of smaller companies really enjoyed coming to our space because it was a private, quiet space where they could meet and didn't have to worry about surroundings or anything. So there's endless possibilities. It's definitely going to be a place where we transform you from the outside world. At least that is our goal. That once you go in, especially into the theater space, we want you to forget about everything else that's going on. And hopefully we're going to do that with the atmosphere. We're going to have lighting and sound. And you never know, it might even snow inside the building. So some cool stuff that we got planned.
First off, congratulations. It's hard to open a business. So
Very.
Congrats. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
I also think, yes, cool, entertainment and fun and all of that stuff, and don't be that guy and everything. But really, I think that, it strikes me when you say, like, we want to provide a place to go where you can kind of check it at the door. And gosh, isn't that valuable? And really, what a service to provide people in our community.
That's something that I want to do. The part of what prompted this, not only having had one for 15 years in Colorado, we had a very successful theater.
Okay.
That was part of the catalyst for this. The other part that really got this going for me was over these 3 years of being in Amarillo and watching social media and watching different pages especially on Facebook. There's a lot of conversation from families and moms in particular with, is there anything to do with the kids this weekend? Is there anything affordable to do with the kids this weekend? And the more I've watched that, the more I went, there's a need here. Amarillo needs something, and hopefully I can fill that need. And we are trying to keep everything very, very reasonable. Hopefully that's something that'll draw people to come out, where you can bring a family of 4 or 5 and it's not going to cost you, a couple $100 to go out. We'll have a concession stand with like $2 popcorn. who has $2 popcorn? But it's just a very inexpensive way for families to come together. Families, friends, I think that's important. I think it's something that everybody needs.
This episode is sponsored by the Amarillo Art Institute at Arts in the Sunset. If you haven't been, this place is an amazing center for Amarillo's vibrant art scene. They have monthly events, including the First Friday Art Walk, which showcases the artists they have in residence, and they are some incredibly talented people with all sorts of wares and mediums. They also offer classes for children and adults in things like glass blowing, weaving, and pottery. It's super cool. Check them out on Facebook. That's Arts in the Sunset. Does your marketing feel like a shot in the dark? Are your social media posts getting lost in the scroll? Unlock your business's potential with SKP Creative. They know your audience and design posts that reflect your brand and drive real engagement. From scroll-stopping social media content to powerful traditional marketing, graphic design, and website development, SKP Creative covers it all. Are you ready to elevate your feed and turn your marketing into a success story? Visit skpcreative.com today. I'm back with Kyle. Kyle, this is the part of the show we call 8 Straight. You'll get 8 questions and you can answer them however you'd like to. You ready?
Let's go for it.
Cool. Okay, when you think of Amarillo 10 years from now, what do you hope for?
I hope that it's still a friendly community. We've found nothing but an outpouring of friendliness since we moved here. Everybody was very, very welcoming when we came here. And I hope that 10 years from now, even with growth, which I'm sure we're going to see plenty of, I hope that it continues to be a grounded, well-rounded community.
Yeah, as do I. Other than wind, what does this area have too much of?
Too many people that can't turn into their own lane. It's that one gets me, especially when I'm pulling the trailer.
Oh, yes, for sure.
So, but that's if that's the worst we got, that's not doing too bad.
That's a fair point. What does this area not have enough of?
It's hard for me to put a pinpoint something that it doesn't have enough of. It seems like they're, yeah. So I mean, that's one thing but I can't just pinpoint one thing that there's not enough of. It seems like there is stuff for everybody. And the more I get into what I'm doing, and I start looking at other things that are going on to try to, project putting out dates and stuff, there's a lot of stuff going on in Amarillo. So, I don't know. I can't point just one thing.
All right. I'll take it. Thank you. When was the last time you went to Paladura Canyon?
It's been probably about a year now. So.
Okay. But you have been since you moved here?
Yes. Yeah. We've been several times. In fact, when somebody comes to visit, we usually take them out to the canyon because it's a pretty cool feature, something pretty neat.
It's not too shabby. Do you have a favorite local restaurant you've found?
Again, I can't point to just one. Where we came from in Colorado, we had a lot of Mexican food, good Mexican food. But Amarillo has, to me, more of an eclectic group of restaurants to choose from. There's so many different varieties, things that we've never tried before we're able to try here. We do eat a lot of steak, so, usually someplace like Red River, we spend some time there. Public House, we like going there. So, of course, the Big Texan, you can't hardly come to Amarillo without mentioning that. So,
yes, of course.
But yeah, I mean, again, not just one, many.
Wonderful. How do you describe Amarillo to people outside the area?
I describe it as a friendly place. As far as people who know me and know where I'm from, I do tell them that it is very, very similar to Pueblo, Colorado, as far as climate goes. In fact, usually if Colorado gets it, whatever kind of weather today, we're going to have it tomorrow or the next day. But the climate, the terrain, everything is so similar. But I describe it as a friendly place and a place that we don't mind calling home.
What do you think is the most underrated aspect of living here?
I would have to say the cost of living. I get to travel all over the country, and I see the cost in other places, and it just blows me away that Amarillo is still, in my opinion, a very affordable place to live.
I agree. Have you identified a favorite building in Amarillo?
I'm going to have to, I like architecture and kind of unique, so I'm going to have to probably go with the Santa Fe building.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of a neat building, the way it sticks out.
Yeah, she's a beauty. Okay, Kyle, that concludes the 8 straight questions. I like to end by asking my guests to endorse something. So what is something you would like to endorse in our area?
Well, obviously, I probably would like to endorse the Amarillo Magic Company and just invite folks to come out and spend some time with us, enjoy some magic, have some magic in your life, get out, have a good laugh, and don't worry about the stuff that's going on in the world. Come spend some time with us, just have some fun. So the Amarillo Magic Company is definitely what I would endorse.
Amen. Kyle, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited about the upcoming Amarillo Symphony season. The symphony's kicking things off with movie Music Under the Stars at Hodgetown on September 6th, followed by a Highland Fling with a live bagpiper and Tchaikovsky's famous piano concerto as their first concert in the Globe News Center. The season continues with the stunning power of Berlioz's Symphonie Fantastique, the cosmic journey of Holst's The Planets, and Amarillo's beloved Happy Holiday Pops concerts. The Amarillo Symphony provides an exciting concert experience whether you're going for a date night or celebrating the holidays with your friends and family. With concerts running September to April, you don't have to miss a single note. Visit amarillosymphony.org for tickets and more. And that concludes the episode. Thanks to Kyle for the interview. For more information about Amarillo Magic Co., visit their Facebook page. Thanks to Amarillo Art Institute, SKP Creative, and the Amarillo Symphony for supporting this podcast, and to Angelina Marie for editing every week. If you're interested in supporting what we do here, visit heyamarillo.com. Thanks for listening. This has been episode 412 of Hey Amarillo. I'm Skylar Gallup, and we hope you'll come back next week.